Black excellence. That phrase carries weight because real black excellence is not just about looking polished. It is not just about success people can see from the outside. It is about standards. It is about preparation. It is about discipline. It is about doing the work with so much care that people can feel the difference before you ever explain it. And in St. Louis, black excellence has always been bigger than a slogan. You see it in the entrepreneur who studies their craft until they become impossible to ignore. You see it in the restaurant owner who is not just trying to serve food, but trying to build trust with every plate. You see it in the consultant who walks into a business and says, "We are not just going to survive, we are going to tighten this up, protect the brand, and operate at a higher level." That matters, because excellence is not accidental. Excellence is built in the details. It is in the systems people do not always see. The training, the compliance, the process, the presentation, the way a business handles itself when nobody is clapping yet. And for Black-owned businesses, especially in food, hospitality, and service, those details can determine whether a brand is just open or truly ready to grow. That is the St. Louis I believe in. A city full of Black builders who are not asking to be graded on a curve. They are raising the standard. They are creating brands with substance, businesses with structure, visions with discipline. And when that happens, Black excellence becomes more than inspiration. It becomes infrastructure. It becomes ownership. It becomes reputation. It becomes the difference between having a good idea and building something that can last. Because excellence does not just help a business look better. It helps a business stand stronger. It helps a community trust what is being built. And it reminds the world that what comes from here can be professional, powerful, prepared, and worthy of respect. That is the St. Louis worth telling stories about. That is the St. Louis we are here to document. And today's guest is an embodiment of that kind of Black excellence. Today on STL Hustle Insider, we sit down with Rahn Williams, food safety training and brand standards consultant. Let's get it.
Every city has stories, but St. Louis has builders. The entrepreneurs, the creators, the culture shapers, the neighborhood leaders. The ones turning vision into movement and pressure into purpose. This is where hustle has history, where legacy still matters, and where the next chapter is being built by people you need to know. Welcome to STL Hustle Insider, the show spotlighting the people, businesses, and movements building St. Louis from the inside out. Hosted by Cortez Hustle, this is where real stories meet real impact. Real stories, real impact. Real STL. Now let's get inside the hustle.
Before we bring in today's guest, it's time to go inside STL Black History. This Inside St. Louis Black History moment is powered by the St. Louis Virtual Resource Center, supporting the stories, history, and people building St. Louis. Today's guest, Rahn Williams, works in food safety training and brand standards. So this one fits. Because Black excellence in food service is not just about flavor. It is about trust. It is about consistency. It is about how people feel when they walk in, sit down, get served, and know they are in a place that respects them. In North St. Louis, near the corner of Sarah Street and St. Louis Avenue, there was a restaurant that became more than a place to eat. It became a community landmark. It was known as a family restaurant, a gathering place, and a familiar stop in a neighborhood with deep Black history, business, education, and culture. For many people, places like this were not just restaurants. They were part of the rhythm of community life. Meals were served there. Conversations happened there. Families gathered there. Reputations were built there. So here's today's Inside St. Louis Black History trivia question. What was the name of this historic North St. Louis cafe near Sarah Street and St. Louis Avenue that became a beloved community gathering place? Don't Google it. Don't cheat. Stick around because we'll reveal the answer at the end of the show. Now, let's get into today's conversation with Rahn Williams.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go with another episode of STL Hustle Insider. And man, I've got a great conversation lined up for you. I met this gentleman last year, and really impressed with what he's doing. So I had to get him on the show. Again, another mover and shaker. So I asked everybody who sits next to me on STL Hustle Insider the one question that kicked things off. And that question is this, my friend: who the heck are you?
My name is Rahn Williams, and that is spelled Rahen. That's the way I spell it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the name of my company is Stokeswill Consulting. So that's Stokes and then Will
Okay.
Consulting.
Awesome. So are you born and raised in St. Louis?
Born and raised in St. Louis, graduated from Hazelwood East in 1990.
Okay. All right. So what is that? Spartan over there at
That's
Hazelwood
Spartan.
East?
That's
All
right.
right.
That's
That's
right.
what's up.
Shout out to all the Spartans.
Because people in St. Louis want to know.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the number one question.
That's the number one question that you get. So take me back, man. We like to really get into the history of the individual behind the business, the brand, or the movement. So what was young Ron like, elementary, middle school, man? Let's start there.
Wow. Elementary, middle school. I went to Granneman Elementary School. I was a kid, probably sick little kid. I had real bad allergies and asthma,
Okay.
and couldn't play outside as much as I wanted to.
Gotcha.
But I found escape in creation. So
Okay.
I did a lot of writing, short stories and stuff like that when I was young, and I used to draw a lot too.
Okay.
But I did get close to some neighborhood friends too. I'm still close to this day.
Gotcha. I love that. And as someone who was forced into that life of creativity, how do you think that plays a role into what you're doing today?
Well, to this day, I'm still a spoken word artist and
Okay.
a hip hop artist.
Mhm.
Put out a couple of albums there on
Mhm.
Bandcamp.
Okay.
I've also toured all over the country and in Canada with
Mhm.
the poetry collective, Soul Vibe Poetry Collective. Shout out to them.
Okay.
So it really did help. And as well, when I went through bad periods in my life when I was a teenager,
Mhm.
writing and being creative was a real escape for me. So instead of
Yeah.
doing something that could be harmful to somebody else or to
Mhm.
myself,
Mhm.
I kind of just used creativity to get me through those times.
Gotcha. So creative as kids, started elementary school, progressed up and through high school, and still allergy still got you pretty much
Mm,
in the house and that kind of
yeah.
stuff. So
Yes, sir.
what was that like? I'd imagine that there's a lot of things that probably at the time you felt like you were missing because you couldn't be out there. So what was that like, and how did your parents help you through that?
It could it got depressing at times because
Hmm.
I missed certain things,
Okay.
and there's certain things I couldn't do.
Hmm.
Real funny quick story is that
Hmm.
when I was in elementary school, I was sitting at the lunch table. We were at lunch,
Hmm.
and a guy was passing out these little squares. They were the Hershey bar squares,
Hmm.
but I'm allergic to chocolate.
Oh
So,
wow.
but I felt left out, and I
Hmm.
knew I was allergic to chocolate,
Right.
but I felt left out.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
said, "Man, give me one." And he said, "Man, I thought you was allergic to chocolate."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, I'm not allergic anymore." Man,
Mhm.
I put that chocolate on my tongue. Soon as it hit my tongue, my mouth swelled up. I couldn't breathe, and man, and I had to go to the hospital.
Mm,
So that instance alone let
yeah,
me know that I can't play with stuff like that,
got you.
and I just accepted it. I can't eat it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But to another point though, we are social beings. That's how God created us. So
Right.
that feeling of being left out
Yeah.
was a strong draw to you doing something that could have killed you.
Could have killed me. Yep. Just wanted to feel like I fit in
Mhm.
at that lunch table. I didn't
Yeah.
want to be the odd man out.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so high school, get up to East, and I came from Wellston, which was a very small school. I did my freshman and sophomore year at Sodan, but that was the year that they closed before it went international. And then my junior and senior year, I'm at Wellston. It's 200 people in the whole school.
Right.
That ain't the case at East.
No, no, it was hundreds of people there, and uh Hazelwood East was a very different experience for me.
Hmm.
Um, Not only did I get closer to lifelong friends that I have to this day. The matter of
Mhm.
fact, are my business partners.
Okay.
But also too, it was my journey into being quote unquote pro-black or
Mhm.
militant or
Okay.
whatever. And it was some things going on that I didn't agree with,
Mhm. Mhm.
and we did some things. We protested at rallies and did a bunch of things. We even started, it's not there anymore, I don't think, but we even
Mhm.
started a after school program, BASG, which was the Black Awareness Support Group. And we
Wow.
started that while in my tenure at Hazelwood East. And shout
Mhm.
out to Miss Black, who I don't think is still teaching, but
Mhm.
she was the teacher that got behind us and allowed us to have that after school program.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
she brought in some young ladies from Ethiopia.
Okay.
And that's what opened my eyes to our people in Africa. Because at
Gotcha.
that point in
Gotcha.
time, I thought that all Africans were, dark complected and
Mhm.
blah blah
Mhm.
blah. But those ladies came in and they were fair complected, very
Mhm.
beautiful women, and they were articulate and intelligent,
Mhm.
educated. So that whole experience at Hazelwood East really opened my eyes. It was a microcosm of what St. Louis and the world had
Mhm.
for me, and it kind of
Gotcha.
prepared me.
Man, that's shout out to Miss Black, you say?
Black, Mrs.
Man,
Black,
that's
yeah,
amazing. We don't really and sometimes we understand the significance of the impact that we're having, but other times we're just doing what God called us to do, and we
that's right.
really don't know how deep that's going to go. So that kind of shaped you up and through this point. So now we're through high school. So what was next for you? Did you do college? Did you go right into the job market? What was next after that?
So after that, I did go to Southeast Missouri State,
Okay,
down to SEMO and Cape Girardeau,
gotcha,
and that was
gotcha.
another life changing or
Okay.
experience. I did not graduate. I
Hmm.
went down there for about 2 years, enough to get my associate,
Okay.
but I didn't go through with the full 4 years. My head
Hmm.
wasn't in the right place for college.
Gotcha.
College to me actually was more of an escape from different things that I was dealing with back at home.
Hmm. Hmm.
And for me to just be able to get up and go at 18 years old and get away and have
Yeah.
my own room and
Mhm.
do
Mhm.
these things and no curfew and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, it was different. And I didn't
Mhm.
focus on studies. I
Right.
focused on the social life that I
Gotcha.
didn't have in high school.
Gotcha. So I'd imagine that now you got a little better handle of allergies and things, know what you can and cannot do, how
Yeah,
you
oh
how you
yes.
can get out and still be good. You probably got things like over the counter medications that can help
Yes,
you be
sir.
out there in them streets a little bit.
Benadryl every night. I need to do a commercial. They need to pay me to do a commercial. I take so much Benadryl. But yeah, it's definitely a routine, and a lot of
Mhm.
people. There's a lot of people with allergies, but there's
Mhm.
not a lot of people with the chronic allergies that I've had.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
matter of fact, shout out to another organization, Vocational Rehabilitation,
Mhm.
is the reason why I graduated from high school,
Okay.
because my mom found this program
Mhm.
because I missed so much school. And,
Yeah.
I don't know how it is now, but if you miss so many days of
Yeah.
school, then they'll hold you back or they'll
Mhm.
keep you from moving on or whatever.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
missed, and so my mom used to go up to the school on the
Mhm.
days I was sick, and she would go get my homework, all
Gotcha.
of the work I
All your
missed. She
schoolwork.
get my
Mhm.
books and everything, and
Mhm.
I come home. She bring them home, and I work on it. So that's the reason I graduated on time, because I
Mhm.
was sick a lot in school.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Well, shout out to moms, man, for
yeah,
for not letting her baby fall
that's
by
right.
the wayside because
That's
it could
right.
have very easily been like, man, just forget it. We're gonna take a different path altogether. But she stayed on it, and that's commitment on her part. But from there, like, talk me through the experience because St. Louis to Cape Girardeau, those are two different worlds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it went from being a small fish in a little pond to
Hmm.
being a big fish in a small pond.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
so when I got to SEMO, and it was my friend, one of my best friends,
Hmm.
he had went there the year prior. He graduated a year before me from
Okay.
East, and
Gotcha.
he went down there. So I basically went because he went there and I
Hmm.
knew somebody. So
Right.
I wasn't like going on campus not knowing anybody.
Gotcha.
And being at SEMO was a whole different scenario because North County and it was a lot more racism in North County when I was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna jump stories real quick because it's important.
Yeah.
But right on the street that I live on now, my mom lives on.
Mm-hmm.
I was, me and my sister were playing down the street,
Mm-hmm.
and we were playing down the street, and a German Shepherd started barking. It was in the backyard of one of the people's houses down there.
Mm-hmm.
The dog jumped over the fence and attacked my sister.
Mm.
The owner came out, who was Caucasian. The
Mm-hmm.
owner came out, and he immediately called the dog back. The dog got off my sister, immediately ran back and jumped over the fence. So the
Mhm.
dog was well trained.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So I go back home. My dad comes home. He's like, "What happened? What's wrong with your sister?" Blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
My dad never jogs. He does exercise now, but he wasn't jogging and doing all that
Right.
stuff back then. This dude went into the house. He put on those socks that come way up and them little shorts that they used to wear.
Yeah.
Put on a headband, and he grabbed him a stick.
Mm.
And he went down the street. He was jogging, going for a jog. And we stood at the top of the hill, and me and my sister looking down the street. See my dad go running down the street. All of a sudden, here, dog jumped the fence and attacked my dad.
Mm-hmm.
My dad beat the crap out of that dog. And the owner ended up calling him back. He went back. My dad called the police. They ended up going down there.
Mm-hmm.
What they found in the backyard was 2 dolls in the backyard. It was a black doll and it was a white doll. The white doll was perfectly fine, like you just bought it from the store.
Mm-hmm.
The black doll was all chewed up.
Wow.
So evidently the dog was trained to attack the brown.
Wow.
So they ended up putting that dog down, and shortly after that, the people that lived in that house moved out the neighborhood.
Man, that is just too crazy to even fathom that you would be doing that in the neighborhood, especially where there are children.
Yep. That's
Like,
right.
because, come on, a German Shepherd, a solid, full-blooded German Shepherd
Yep.
at about 75 to 100 pounds.
Yes, sir.
Almost a born trained killing machine.
Yes, sir.
Come on, man.
Yep.
That's too much, man.
And
So-
mind you, like when we moved to North County, I was 3 years old. We were pretty much the only blacks in this whole subdivision.
Gotcha.
So North County wasn't like it is now, because it's very diverse now.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
when we first moved
Back
in,
then,
we were the only ones.
man.
Yeah.
And so that had to shape. So taking an experience like that, and then how you grew up, and then you go to somewhere. It's southern Missouri. It ain't south below the
It's
Mason-Dixon
still-
line, the Mason-Dixon line, but
Yeah.
it is still south, right? So did you experience that level of racism off campus? Because I know that in situations like that, campus is one thing, but then you get off campus, sometimes it's something altogether different.
There was a time, and my friends can attest to this because there was a group of us that went through this. But if you remember the movie Higher Learning with Ice Cube in it,
Yep.
when the girl came in and and somebody had did something to the girl, and the Ice Cube looked up and they got all together and they went and got the guy. So similar situation happened at SEMO with a girl a black girl who was trying to get into a white sorority.
Okay.
And they basically told her no, because you are N-word.
Wow.
So she comes to us, and we the pro-black militant people on the campus. And so we say, all right. So, and it's a sorority, but they also got the brother fraternity.
Sure.
So they had this party. It was at a barn, like off campus, like out in the middle of some
In the
place,
sticks
field
somewhere.
and some sticks. Yeah. So we got together. One of my partners played on the football team. He got guys together from the football team, about 4 carloads of us. We didn't dress like this, but that day we did. We sagged our pants. We put on bandanas, shades, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we showed up because they had a party. We showed up at that barn. We walk in, and our intention was bad.
Yeah.
We want to go in there and fight.
Yeah.
That's what our goal was. We gonna find them, and if we couldn't find them, we was gonna beat up everybody.
Right. Right.
So it was enough of us to do it. But we go in there, and as soon as we walk in, they changed the music. They was playing rock and roll. When we when we walk in, they put on MC Hammer.
Gotcha.
And they running up to us like, "Hey, y'all want a beer? You want this? You want that? You want that? Hey, dance with the Herb. Becky's good," and all blah blah blah. They were doing all kind of stuff. So it threw us off. So nonetheless, we didn't fight nobody. We had the time of our lives. But stuff like that never happened again while we were down there. Because we made a presence known.
Yeah. I love that, man. And sometimes you just have to just take a stand, draw a line in the sand and say, hey, man, we just not going for it. And that don't make us better than y'all, but y'all sure ain't better than us, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right.
Right.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into what Mr. Rahn really does. He's a second generation entrepreneur. We're going to talk a lot about his business. He's got that pro-Black in him, so he's bringing Black excellence to the table. So we're going to talk about that on the other side of this break. And taking us to this break, we actually going to play some of Rahn's music. So y'all enjoy a little bit of this from one of Rahn's albums, and don't go nowhere. Keep it locked right here.
Now they got me backed in the corner like backpacks on the corridor. Toe tags from the corner, got hashtags from Andromeda. Got both feet in the water when I drown out in the Black Sea like Mercury and barometer. It's God life, supreme autobiographer, like a sneaky photographer. Paparazzi, cocky Nazis, ready to do tsunamis. Give a buck to be a star, now they poison the coffee. Got me locked in the lobby with the zombies and the poppers of Mali. While we tripping on Cosby, they slicker than Lardy Darty. While they rich and the humble become snobby. Elephants and donkeys, they pulling out more pieces than Gandhi. Airing out our dirty laundry. Wear slave chains for your jewelry. More money for your nudity, college degree for your foolery, stupidity in your eulogy.
There is a difference between owning protection and being prepared. Preparation starts with education. At Relentless Defensive Firearm Academy, responsible citizens learn the principles that matter most: safety, law, responsibility, and confidence. From firearm safety education to Missouri CCW classes, Relentless helps you train the right way with professional, judgment-free instruction. Whether you are brand new or ready to sharpen your skills, you do not have to figure it out alone. Protecting yourself and protecting your family should never be based on guesswork. Visit relentlessstl.com or call 314-314-8485 to learn more. Relentless Defensive Firearm Academy. Protect yourself. Protect your family.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to STL Hustle Insider. We're sitting with Brother Rahn Williams, and some amazing escapades throughout his young life. But let's transition now into business. Got your associate's degree down at SEMO. What was it that got you transitioned into business?
Well, honestly, it was my dad. Because when I left Southeast Missouri State and came back here, he said, "I got a job for you." And at the time, he owned a McDonald's out in Webster Groves, or Rock Hill, actually. Rock Hill. I worked there. I hated it.
Okay.
But I did, but it just wasn't my thing,
Yeah.
I was basically a shift manager. A lot of times I had to close or open. So, and I was still young. It was times that, I had to open the store and be there at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And on a Sunday morning, Saturday night, we had Club Casino on the east side,
Right.
So they don't close till like 5 or
Right.
4 or 5 in the morning or something like that. So I take my clothes, put them in my work clothes, put them in the car, leave the club, and go straight to. And no way I could do that now. I'd pass out. But that experience did teach me about restaurants.
Okay.
It did teach me about how successful somebody could be. At the time, I was just not mature enough to see it. And plus, it was like I wanted an office job. You know, I
Gotcha.
wanted to sit down at a desk and use a computer and go to meetings and
Mhm.
do this and that.
Mhm.
I didn't want to be running around the store, you know. So it just didn't work for me. I didn't have the maturity at the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I do like if people go into a job like a McDonald's as a young person, 16 to 24, and with the intention that I could potentially own this thing one day or become a manager of multiple stores one day. They have programs for that,
Yes,
right?
they
And
do.
was that how your dad got to the ownership level? Because I know he owned a few stores, right?
Yes, yes, sir. Um, so basically, my dad, he kind of looked at, and he worked for Southwestern Bell here in St. Louis, and
Mhm.
he
Mhm.
looked at different options, and he looked at it, and he said, man, McDonald's makes a lot of millionaires and billionaires
Mhm.
with, and especially in our communities, they make, the
Yep.
owners, right?
Mhm.
So he said, this is something I think I want to do. So he had the foresight to
Yeah.
be able to jump out there and say he's going to own it.
Mm.
And when he owned it out in Rock Hill, it was a rough store to kind of manage.
Mhm.
But when he sold that store and then he got the two that were in the city, one in the county, one in the city in St.
Mhm.
Louis, that transition for him after I had went away to college,
Mhm.
when I got back, I went on to other jobs
Mhm.
and did other things. And one of the things I complained about back when I worked from the first time was pay,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know. But I worked at another company called Express Scripts, and
Mhm.
I worked for them, and I started off on the phones, just entry
Yep.
level position. In
Yep.
like 90 days, I was a manager and
Gotcha.
had no,
Gotcha.
other than the little bit I did with my dad, I didn't have any experience, but
Okay.
it was just the management there. That's
Mhm.
what taught me what leadership is about,
Mhm. Mhm.
because they came to me and said, hey, I got a position for you.
Gotcha.
And, and I just went from there. So as I was working in management there, then my dad called me back
Okay.
and he said,
Okay.
hey man, you know what I'm going to pay you?
Nah, he
And I
he was
said,
ready
what?
for you.
And at the time I was about to get married and doing some
Mhm.
other stuff too. So I was like, shoot, here I come,
Gotcha.
you know,
Gotcha.
but the experience that I had there the second time around,
Mhm.
in not just the shift manager. No, well, I don't say just, because the shift managers are important,
Yeah.
but I was at a district manager type level.
Okay.
I could see the bird's eye view of the operation.
Gotcha.
So I could see where they say you're supposed to work on your business and not in your business.
Okay.
So seeing it from that snapshot
Mhm.
really made me understand that anything that we do, it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in,
Mhm.
it's about leadership and
Yep.
it's about people.
Yep.
People run your business.
Mhm.
So even if you're independent like I am and you partner with people,
Mhm. Mhm.
your customers are people.
That's right.
So if you can't relate to, lead, strategize with
Mhm.
people, then it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're gonna have a hard time.
Gotcha. So dad, restaurant business, owned 3 stores and kind of, uh well, he owned the one in Rock.
Well, he got rid of that one
But
in the
right,
end.
he got
Yeah,
rid of that one, but then bought 2 more. So
there you
total
go.
he
Total three.
owed
Yes,
3.
sir. Yes, sir.
But that gave you an experience and not just business, but high level corporate machine business.
Mhm.
Like, because
Mhm.
you could be a manager of a couple of mom and pop restaurants, but I guarantee that's completely different than managing a franchise like a McDonald who's got everything down to a science.
Yes.
How did that experience shape you into the entrepreneur that you ultimately became today? But walk us through that journey.
So McDonald's is very strategic in systems.
Mhm.
So they teach you systems.
Okay.
You have to, and they take you, there is a McDonald's University. I am
Mhm.
a graduate of it.
Mhm.
So they have a stringent training program
Mhm.
and it's all systematic. And I kind of relate it to any type of oppressive system that has been in America, in
Mhm.
Africa, in Europe, wherever it is.
Mhm.
It's a system that they put in place
Yep.
because the person that invented the system doesn't have to be there for the system to work.
That's right.
Because it just works,
That's
right?
right.
So what I learned from working under them, and now what's important as a consultant is that's the first step. So when I'm teaching, let's say, a ServSafe class or a food safety certification class, it's not just about the certification, it's about implementing the system.
Yeah.
The system can operate when you're not there.
That's right.
And my goal is with restaurant owners, when you say mom and pops especially, my goal is to get you out of the store.
Gotcha.
Because systems will run your store
Mm-hmm.
if you get the right people to run the systems.
Okay.
So that's what I encourage.
Gotcha. So let's break it down. So tell us the name of your business and what you do mainly for entrepreneurs. And I know you go beyond the restaurant and food safety space, but let's start there.
Okay. So I'm an instructor proctor for ServSafe, which is a nationally recognized, accredited food safety certification process. I am certified to teach the ServSafe food handler, the ServSafe manager, and the ServSafe alcohol.
Okay.
All of which are required. Now, there are other certifications you can get, but ServSafe is the most prominent application that you can get.
Gotcha.
So that's one of my major products that I push because you have to have that. It is a requirement by all health departments in America that if you are going to operate, you have to have that certification.
Okay.
Okay. And that's going to keep you in line. Now, getting the certification is one thing, putting it into practice is another thing.
And that's where systems come in.
And that's where systems
you
come
have to have
in.
a systematic approach to how not only you as the owner are going to implement, but then how you're going to teach and train all of your people on the system so that they are running the system and keeping the business safe.
There you go.
Okay. When you think about that from that standpoint, what is one of the biggest mistakes that a new food service business, whether it is a mobile bartender, whether it's a food truck, whether it is a new storefront restaurant that just opens, what are some of the biggest mistakes that they make around the food safety that could potentially get them shut down or delayed in their process of a grand opening or something like that?
So the main thing is going to be, okay, for instance, when you walk into a restaurant, what I always tell people is to look for a couple of things when you walk in. Number one, you're going to look for an A on the door.
Okay.
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 If there's a B, C, whatever, don't eat there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. If there's nothing on the door, don't eat there.
Gotcha.
Because sometimes what people do is the health department will give them a B or a C, and then when they leave, they'll take it off their door. They know it's bad publicity.
Gotcha.
So if it's not an A up there, don't eat there.
Gotcha.
The thing that differentiates, the main thing that differentiates a mom and pop's quote unquote or a smaller location and the bigger people is that they have a system in place for checks and balances.
Okay.
McDonald's has consultants and things that they come into the stores and they evaluate and they look at things and they grade and they coach and they do this and that.
Yeah.
Right. If a person that's just starting a restaurant doesn't have that in place, and I'm not talking about you as the owner.
Right.
I'm saying you need to contract out somebody like me or me to come in and do those evaluations because my goal through the evaluation process is to get you to grow, to get another location.
Gotcha.
But you cannot do that. The evaluations are a way for me to analyze your operations and determine a plan of action for you to correct the systems or implement the systems that aren't there.
Okay.
Once you do that and it's working, then my next step with you is where do you want your other location?
Gotcha.
Because now you've got systems working in this location and you've taken yourself out of the store and it's still operating.
Okay. I
So
love
now
that.
so I tell people all the time, your job as an owner is to work on how to expand and grow the business. Your job is not to be a cook. Job is not to be a host. Your job is not to clean the restrooms. That's not your job.
Gotcha.
But we
Gotcha.
have to get them to that point.
I love it. The other thing that I know that you do relatively well is you talk a lot about brand standards. Now, I'm a branding guy from an online and digital footprint standpoint, but sometimes before we can even expand the brand online, there's got to be some brand standards. So if we sent 1,000 people to the actual store, we want the brand standards to be represented there as well as they do online. So talk a little bit about the importance of establishing those brand standards.
So once again, and that's the purpose, one of the purposes of the evaluations is to develop your brand standards.
Okay.
When you go into a restaurant, brand standards are everything that is not food safety.
Okay.
Okay. So when you walk in a restaurant, first thing you're looking at is the outside of the place. Or is the parking lot, does the parking lot have potholes in it? Do the striping look good? Is the dumpster closed?
Yeah.
When you walk up, look at the windows. Are they clean? Are the ledges clean? Is the walkway clean? When you go in, are you greeted? Or are you sitting there waiting for somebody?
Yeah.
How long does it take you to get your food? Did you get the right order? Was the waitress polite? Are the restrooms clean? Did you get the right order? Excuse me. I'm sorry. So those things, uniforms, are they in uniforms? All of those things are brand standards. So, and then also too, what is your brand standard? So if I go get a steak from your restaurant, what's going to be the different in the experience that I get from going to your restaurant as opposed to going to any other steakhouse?
Gotcha.
What are you going to do differently that separates you from everybody else that does what you do? And that's brand standard.
I love that, man. And I don't think people pay enough attention to, mainly because the absence of systems.
There you go.
Because
There you go. You said it.
because when you don't have systems, now you're trying to remember to do all of this stuff every day.
Yes.
And it's the same with me and the online space is I don't want you to remember to have to follow up with somebody. I want to put a system in place that automatically follows up with somebody, right?
There you go. Like a CRM management. And all
There
that.
you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
I love it. I love it. So before we get out of here, man, we do two main segments that I've got to get you your thoughts on. And this first segment is top 5 all STL. Now, this could be your top 5 restaurants. This could be your top 5 hangout spots. This could be your top 5 people to know, places to go. It's a combination. Don't think just one thing, because sometimes people want to give me top 5 restaurants. Well, give me your favorite restaurant, but also give me a cool place that you like to hang out too. So if I was not from around here and I ran into Brother Ron and said, hey, man, what are some things I can get into in St. Louis and have a good time? So this is STL Hustle Insider's top 5 all STL, the Rahn Williams edition. What you got for us, bro?
I'm gonna go ahead and go with restaurants, just because that's my lane.
Okay.
And I need to be more social.
Gotcha.
I need to get out and see some more of St. Louis. But most of the time when I go somewhere, people meet me at a restaurant.
Gotcha.
What I do want to mention, Kathy's Kitchen.
Okay.
So if you haven't been to Kathy's Kitchen,
So number 1, I'm a fan of Kathy's Kitchen.
I want to mention Elicious Restaurant.
Delicious. Okay, I've been there. I like them.
I want to mention St. Louis Fish and Chicken.
Okay.
I want to mention Chicago Fish and Chicken.
Okay.
And I want to mention Miami Grill.
Gotcha. So top 5, Kathy's Kitchen, Elicious, St. Louis Fish and Chicken, Chicago Fish and Chicken, and Miami Grill.
There you go.
All good for St. Louis. They all got great food. Of course, Kathy's Kitchen and Elicious, Black owned. So definitely show them a little extra love when you're in the space. And I'm liking Kathy's social presence too. I see her doing her cooking videos and stuff like that. So that's one segment down. So that is all STL Rahn Williams. This next one, bro. I usually set this up and trick people, but I can't trick you because we call this freestyle, and you're someone who could actually freestyle, but that's not what we're talking about. So when we say freestyle, we're saying I'm building this media conglomerate. I don't always ask the right questions. The conversation doesn't always go where you might want it to go. So when I say freestyle, I'm talking about something that we didn't get a chance to talk about, or something that you want to reiterate that you feel is super important. And then, of course, close with tell everybody how they can get in touch with you. So we do 60 seconds. This is STL Hustle Insider freestyle session, the Rahn Williams version. Give them what you got, bro.
The St. Louis Community Partners, the Stokeswill Community Partners networking event is September 12th. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. It's at 3050 Olive Avenue. It's on SLU's campus at the building titled El Monastero. It's our community partners group in which we partner with Upward Bound, 100 Black Men. There are all of the restaurants that we just named are in there. We also partner with every trade service. So that's electrician, plumber, carpenter, you name it. So it's all about community. It's about building a network where we can share resources, where we can also promote people like you and what you're doing, because what you're doing is a good thing. And there's a lot of businesses that can benefit from the service that you're providing.
Gotcha. All right. Well, tell everybody where to get in touch with you. What are your best social handles or phone number, whatever you want to give them to get in touch with you if they want one of those evaluations, need help with their brand standards, or if they like my sister-in-law who's ready to get her food safety certifications done so she could start selling her food, man, how they get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me by calling 314-348-8363. You can also find me at stokeswill.com, and our lines are open.
All right, my friend, this has certainly been a plum-pleasing pleasure. I'm glad to get to know you and get to know a little bit more about your background and your business. We will be in the building for the, what is it, the conference,
the Stokeswill Community Partners networking event.
The Community Partners networking event. We will be in the building. I've got to decide which one of my businesses I got the booth for. I don't know if I'm going to do St. Louis Hustle Insider. I don't know if I'm going to do iHustle Media Group. I don't know if I'm going to do the STL Virtual Resource Center, but we'll figure it out.
Hey, and what I always suggest is just pick one, but you can have other information there just in case but just pick one so we're not overloading people.
Yep.
And then one more thing too, I want to give a shout out to Just Five, which is also my business collective.
Okay.
So it's my company. It's also Custom Merchandise Market. They do apparel and they do all kind of merchandising. As well, shot by Derek. He's a photographer. Then we have 100 American Dreams, does real estate and acquisition.
Okay.
And then we have Harvest Time Farms and Fellowship, which is a nonprofit organization in which we're working on building a community garden, a community center out here in North County on Bell Fountain. He also provide strategic planning. So I wanted to give him a shout out too.
I love it.
Man, what a powerful conversation. Before we get out of here, let's answer today's Inside STL Black History question. Earlier, we asked, what was the name of the historic North St. Louis Cafe near Sarah Street and St. Louis Avenue that became a beloved community gathering place? The answer is Sarah Lou Cafe. Sarah Lou Cafe was more than a restaurant. It was a North St. Louis landmark, a family restaurant, and a gathering place connected to the everyday life and memory of Black St. Louis. And that connects directly to today's conversation about Black excellence. Because excellence is not only what people see on the plate. It is the cleanliness, the care, the consistency, the customer experience, and the reputation that makes people trust a place enough to keep coming back. When we remember places like Sarah Lou Cafe, we remember that food service is community service, hospitality is history, and standards are part of legacy. That's your Inside STL Black History moment for today. Brought to you by the St. Louis VRC. Tap into 101 resource every St. Louis entrepreneur needs to start, maintain, or scale a business. Check out ihustlemg.com.